Today, we're bringing 12 terrifying legends back to life, eerie stories that still haunt Oregon. Number 1. Witch's Castle. In the heart of Portland's Forest Park stands a moss-covered stone ruin that locals call Witch's Castle. Though the structure was actually a 1930s park shelter, its reputation as haunted began long before it crumbled into today's eerie shell. The legend stretches back to the 1850s, when Danford Balk, a homesteader, found himself at the center of Oregon's first official execution. Balk's daughter fell in love with a hired hand named Mortimer Stump, and when the couple eloped against his wishes, tragedy followed. Enraged, Balk murdered Stump on a ferry crossing the Willamette River, right in front of witnesses. He was arrested, tried, and hanged in 1859, leaving behind whispers that his spirit never left the land he once farmed. Over time, stories grew that the ghost of Stump also roamed nearby, fueling rumors of a lingering curse. By the 1930s, the city built a rustic stone ranger station and restroom on Balk's former property. Soon after, hikers began reporting strange encounters. The sound of angry shouting, footsteps crunching on gravel when no one was near, and sudden cold gusts sweeping through the ruin. Couples who paused inside at night told of hearing heavy breathing, as if someone unseen stood just over their shoulder. The building fell into disuse by the 1960s, leaving its mossy remains to decay in the forest. But the legend only grew. Today, students, hikers, and ghost hunters call it Witch's Castle, a place where Oregon history and ghostly imagination collide. Number 2. Bigfoot. Few creatures loom larger in Oregon folklore than Bigfoot, the mysterious giant said to roam the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest. Described as an ape-like being, 8 feet tall with massive footprints, the legend combines native oral traditions with modern eyewitness accounts stretching back more than a century. To many, Oregon is the true heart of Bigfoot country. Reports date back to the early 1900s, when loggers and miners along the Sixes River told of encounters with a wild man living in the woods. In 1924, near Mount St. Helens on the Oregon-Washington border, miners claimed their cabin was attacked overnight by rock-throwing ape men. Newspapers across the region reported the story, cementing Bigfoot's place in American folklore. For decades, hunters, hikers, and even law enforcement officers have claimed sightings in the Cascades and Coast Range. Witnesses describe a musky smell, tree knocks echoing through the forest, and enormous tracks pressed deep into the mud. The footprints, some over 16 inches long, gave the creature its famous name. Each discovery added fuel to the belief that Oregon's wilderness hid a secret too big to dismiss. Skeptics argue the tales are misidentifications or hoaxes, but to locals, the mystery is part of Oregon's identity. Festivals, research groups, and even museums celebrate the legend, while countless visitors still walk the forest trails, half hoping to catch a glimpse. Bigfoot remains Oregon's most famous resident, unseen by most, yet never forgotten in the whispers of the pines. Number 3. The Bandage Man. On the windswept Oregon coast near Cannon Beach, Drivers along Highway 101 tell of a terrifying figure who appears out of nowhere. Known as the Bandage Man, he is said to be wrapped head to toe in bloody bandages, staggering on the roadside or leaping into the backs of passing trucks before vanishing without a trace. His story is one of Oregon's strangest ghost legends. The tale often begins in the 1940s, when a sawmill accident supposedly killed a logger or mill worker. His body, horribly injured, was wrapped in bandages, but according to local lore, he never found peace. Soon, motorists began reporting encounters with a man covered in bandages who smelled of decay. At times, he would smash windows or pound on car doors, terrifying young couples parked along the cliffs. The legend spread quickly among Cannon Beach residents and tourists alike. Some say the Bandage Man rides in the back of pickup trucks, only to disappear when the driver looks back. Others insist he targets couples who linger too long on Lover's Lane, shaking the car violently before fading away. Witnesses describe the air growing unnaturally cold just before his arrival, leaving a lasting chill even after he vanishes. Whether born of a tragic accident or coastal folklore, the Bandage Man has endured for decades. He remains part of Oregon's haunted highway tales, a phantom draped in bandages stalking the stormy coast. Travelers along Highway 101 still glance nervously at the dark shoulder of the road, wondering if they'll be the next to see him. Number 4. Bridge of the Gods. In the Columbia River Gorge, one of Oregon's most breathtaking landscapes, lies the story of the Bridge of the Gods. Long before the steel span was built in 1926, the name referred to a legendary natural land bridge that once stretched across the Columbia River. Native traditions say it was formed after a mighty landslide blocked the water thousands of years ago, leaving a massive stone crossing between the mountains. This bridge, both real and mythical, carried stories that blended nature and the supernatural. According to tribal legend, the gods themselves created the bridge to unite the people on both sides of the river. At its center stood a great chief who ruled the mountains, with his two sons vying for power. Their rivalry turned violent, shaking the gorge with their battles. The gods, angered by the destruction, destroyed the bridge in a fury, sending it crashing into the river below. Geologists later confirmed that a massive landslide in the Columbia Gorge did occur around 1450, temporarily damming the river. The evidence tied the legend to real events, giving the Bridge of the Gods a powerful place where history and mythology meet. Native peoples remembered it not just as a story of pride and punishment, but also as a reminder of the land's power to shape human destiny. Today, travelers cross a modern steel Bridge of the Gods at Cascade Locks, named to honor the legend. Standing there, one can imagine the colossal stone bridge of the past, towering over the river and alive in the stories passed down through generations. Number 5. Sumpter Valley Gold Dredge. In the small town of Sumpter, Oregon, the hulking remains of a gold dredge stand as a monument to a bygone era. Built in 1935, the Sumpter Valley Gold Dredge chewed through miles of earth in search of treasure, leaving behind piles of gravel and altered landscapes. But while its mechanical heart once pumped with industry, it is the stories of a ghostly miner named Joe Bush that keep the dredge alive today. According to legend, Joe was a worker on the dredge who met a sudden and tragic end. Accounts vary. Some say he fell into the machinery, others that he was crushed in an accident, but all agree his spirit never left. Soon after, workers began hearing unexplained footsteps echoing across the empty decks at night. Tools vanished, machinery started on its own, and men whispered about seeing a shadowy figure on the catwalks. For decades, the ghost of Joe Bush became part of the dredge's identity. Workers claimed his presence grew strongest when new crews joined, as if he were warning them of the dangers of the massive machine. Even after the dredge shut down in 1954, his legend persisted. Visitors exploring the idle vessel reported cold chills and the sound of boots clanging on metal floors, though no one else was there. Today, the Sumpter Valley dredge is preserved as a state heritage site. Families tour its rusting gears and towering structure, guided by tales of both its industrial past and its haunted reputation. Joe Bush remains its most enduring tenant, a phantom miner whose story reminds all who enter that the quest for gold often came with a heavy price. Number 6. Heceta Head Lighthouse. Perched on a cliff above the Pacific Ocean, Heceta Head Lighthouse is one of Oregon's most iconic landmarks and one of its most haunted. Built in 1894, the lighthouse guided ships through dangerous waters for more than a century. Yet beyond its beam and waves lies the story of Rue, the resident ghost said to linger in the old keeper's house beside the tower. The tale begins with tragedy. Rue is believed to have been a woman who lost her child near the lighthouse many decades ago. Stricken with grief, she stayed tied to the place even in death. Residents and visitors describe her as a gray lady drifting through the rooms of the keeper's house, especially the attic. Some have reported the sound of soft crying, while others claim to have seen her reflection in mirrors, vanishing as quickly as she appears. Caretakers say Rue is not a frightening spirit, but rather a gentle one. One famous story tells of workers who broke a window while repairing the house. The next day, they returned to find their tools neatly cleaned and put away, as if Rue had tidied up after them. Guests at the current bed and breakfast also whisper about blankets being adjusted while they sleep, or hearing quiet footsteps pacing the halls at night. For over a century, Heceta Head has been celebrated for its beauty and mystery. Visitors come for the sweeping ocean views, but many leave with stories of the lighthouse's ghostly guardian. Rue remains a symbol of love and loss, reminding us that even in a place built to save lives, sorrow can leave a shadow that lasts forever. Number 7. Lady of Cannon Beach. On Oregon's rugged coast, Cannon Beach is famous for its towering haystack rock and sweeping shoreline. But when the fog rolls in and the waves pound against the cliffs, locals whisper of a ghostly figure known as the Lady of Cannon Beach. Her story blends the dangers of the sea with the sorrow of loss, leaving behind a haunting reminder of the coast's untamed past. The tale goes back to the 1800s, when shipwrecks were a constant threat along the Oregon coast. According to legend, one such wreck near Cannon Beach claimed the life of a young woman searching desperately for her lost husband. Some say she died on the rocks, others that she drowned in the storm, but her spirit never left. Soon after, people began to report a pale figure wandering the shoreline in a long dress. her face hidden by sea mist. Fishermen and beachgoers claimed to see her gliding over the sand at dusk, vanishing as they drew closer. At times, her form has been spotted near Haystack Rock, where seabirds circle endlessly overhead. The air grows colder when she appears, and waves crash louder, as if the ocean itself remembers her tragedy. Families walking the beach after dark sometimes say they feel watched, though no one else is there. The Lady of Cannon Beach has become part of the coastline's identity, blending history and legend. She is not a vengeful ghost, but a sorrowful presence, a reminder of the many lives the Pacific claimed. Today, when visitors gaze at the fog-shrouded horizon, they may wonder if the lady still walks the sands, searching for a love forever lost to the sea. Number 8. Cathedral Park. Beneath the soaring arches of the St. John's Bridge in Portland lies Cathedral Park, one of the city's most beautiful spaces and one of its most haunted. Named for the Gothic cathedral-like towers of the bridge, the park carries a dark story tied to the tragic death of a young girl in the 1940s. The event left a shadow that locals say lingers to this day. In 1949, a teenager named Thelma Taylor was kidnapped and murdered near the riverbank. The crime shocked Portland and became one of the city's most infamous cases. Ever since, stories have spread of strange sounds echoing through the park. Visitors report hearing a young girl's cries for help or whispers carried on the wind, always near the shaded paths where the tragedy took place. Some witnesses claim to see a faint figure beneath the bridge's stone pillars, dressed in mid-century clothing. Others describe footsteps following them across the grass, only to find no one behind them. Dogs grow restless in certain spots, refusing to walk forward, as if sensing something their owners cannot. The atmosphere beneath the bridge often shifts suddenly from peaceful to unsettling, as though the air itself remembers the past. Today, Cathedral Park is a place of music festivals, picnics, and family gatherings. Yet beneath the joy lies a story that continues to haunt Portlanders. The ghost of Thelma Taylor is said to wander the park, her memory entwined with the arches above and the river below, reminding all who visit that beauty and sorrow often share the same space. Number 9. Geyser Grand Hotel. In the eastern Oregon town of Baker City, the Geyser Grand Hotel rises like a relic of the Old West. Built in 1889 during the gold rush, it was once called the Queen of the Mines for its opulence. The hotel attracted wealthy travelers, miners, and outlaws, but today it is best known for its many ghostly residents who refuse to check out. The most famous spirit is the Lady in Blue, believed to be a socialite who lived at the hotel during its heyday. Guests and staff describe her as a woman in a Victorian blue gown, strolling the grand staircase or sipping phantom champagne in the saloon. Some say she lingers because she loved the hotel too much to leave. Others whisper she was tied to scandal or heartbreak that bound her spirit here. She is not alone. Guests have reported seeing a headless chef in the kitchen, a ghostly maid continuing her duties in empty hallways, and miners still trudging through the basement tunnels. Lights flicker, glasses move on their own, and laughter from long-gone parties drifts through the ballroom. Paranormal investigators have called the Geyser Grand one of the most haunted hotels in the West, capturing strange voices and unexplained figures on film. Despite the legends, the Geyser Grand still welcomes visitors, many of whom come hoping for a ghostly encounter. The hotel's elegance and history draw travelers, but it is its spectral residents that give it lasting fame. To step inside is to walk into a world where Oregon's golden past lingers, not just in memory, but in the whispers and footsteps of those who never left. Number 10. Ghost Ship Lupata. Along Oregon's dangerous coastline, where fog hangs heavy and jagged rocks rise from the sea, tales of ghost ships are common. One of the most chilling is the story of the Lupata, a Spanish galleon said to have wrecked off the coast in the late 1500s. Though the details of its voyage are lost to time, legends tell of a vessel that refused to vanish, appearing again and again as a phantom ship. Sailors in the 18th and 19th centuries reported spotting the Lupata drifting silently in the mist. Unlike other vessels, it carried no sound of crew or sails, just a glowing outline that seemed to skim over the waves. Some swore they saw ghostly figures on its deck, dressed in armor and cloaks, frozen in silence. The appearance of the Lupata was taken as a warning of storms or disaster, and mariners feared it as a bad omen. Stories of treasure fueled the legend further. The Lupata was believed to have carried gold and silver bound for Spain before it disappeared. Over the years, tales spread of coins washing ashore or mysterious artifacts linked to the ship. Whether these finds were real or imagined, they gave the ghostly galleon an allure that has never faded. Even today, fishermen and coastal visitors speak of strange lights flickering offshore, far from any modern vessel. On foggy nights along the Oregon coast, the ghost ship Lupata is said to return, a glowing reminder of the perils of the sea and the mysteries that still drift upon its waves. Number 11. Hot Lake Hotel. In the quiet countryside of Union County stands the Hot Lake Hotel, once hailed as the Mayo Clinic of the West. Built in the early 1900s, it drew thousands of visitors who sought healing in the natural hot springs nearby. But after decades of tragedy and decline, the grand building gained a darker reputation, one of the most haunted places in Oregon. The hotel's troubles began when part of it burned in 1934, claiming lives and leaving behind scars that could not be erased. Later, the building served as a sanitarium and nursing home where suffering and death were daily realities. Locals soon began to tell stories of ghostly figures pacing the halls, strange cries echoing through the night, and rocking chairs moving without cause. Visitors most often speak of seeing a man in an old-fashioned uniform, believed to be a former caretaker. Others describe disembodied voices and shadows that vanish when approached. Paranormal teams have reported cold spots, flickering lights, and unexplained whispers captured on recordings. The weight of its history seems to linger in every creaking floorboard and drafty window. Though restored and reopened as an inn and cultural site, the Hot Lake Hotel's eerie past continues to attract those curious about the supernatural. Guests come for the history and the healing waters, but many leave with stories of ghostly encounters they cannot explain. The building stands as both a monument to Oregon's past and a reminder that not all its visitors have truly departed. Number 12. Imbry Farm. Just outside Portland, in the town of Corbett, lies Imbry Farm, a historic estate with roots stretching back to the 1850s. Once the centerpiece of a prominent pioneer family's holdings, the farm eventually became known, not only for its beautiful architecture, but also for its haunted reputation. Today, it houses a restaurant and brewery where guests dine alongside whispers of the past. The most common legend tells of a woman in a long gown seen drifting through the farmhouse. Staff and visitors describe her as quiet and sorrowful, often appearing near staircases or in the old dining room before vanishing without a sound. Many believe she is a member of the Imbry family, still tied to the land where she lived and died. Other ghostly activity includes footsteps in empty hallways, doors opening on their own, and the faint sound of piano music echoing from rooms where no instrument exists. Employees closing late at night have reported lights flickering and an overwhelming sense of being watched, only to turn and find the space empty. The combination of pioneer history and unexplained activity has made the farm a cornerstone of Oregon ghost lore. Today, Imbry Farm remains a popular gathering place, offering food, drink, and atmosphere unlike anywhere else. Guests come for the historic charm, but many leave with stories of eerie encounters. The spirits of Imbry Farm remind visitors that Oregon's pioneer past is never far away, lingering in the creak of the floorboards and the shadows of its oldest homes. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.